And go.
Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast. We are talking about Volume 6, Episode 2. I am the Genie of the Lamp, Mediocrity.
Have you used that one before?
I don't
No.
think so.
I don't think.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
knows?
I don't think.
That sounds.
Who knows? I will say, thanks Rooster Teeth for ruining No Nut November for me with Jin.
I was gonna ask, how
Yeah.
do you like brown anime waifus? How do you like blue anime waifus?
Blue space elf anime waifus are good,
Da, da, da.
but it's me, high powered, and this was a real banger of an episode.
I cannot believe that we've gotten this much good RWBY in a row after Volume 5, but I will happily eat my words that I thought this volume would be a shit show. I am dude, what the heck? I mean, it's not proven yet, but let's be honest, so far.
The real trick is if
It's
they do
getting-
three good episodes in
Yeah,
a row. Because that's only
exactly.
been done once
Yeah.
in the series history. And that was at the
Yeah.
end of Volume 3.
Very
Yep.
true.
And-
Much like
Sorry. And yeah, someone really needs to answer that phone, cause I called it. Well, we called it. I am Robert.
Wait, what did we call it again?
I'm silently
A couple things. One, that Salem was not Summer Rose, and although that I'm pretty sure that one was shot out of the water weeks ago, and also that Cinder
doing years
was
ago.
Not dead.
not dead, and the woman in the robe. So yeah, we fucking called it.
That's true. We did call Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it was an easy call to make.
Well, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised how many people really wanted Cinder to just be dead. You'd be surprised how many people.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was easy. It was
And
easy
thought that,
after
and
the
like how many
poster.
people wanted the hooded woman to be Neo, even though she probably is still gonna come back in this volume, but we'll talk about that.
Speaking about the discarded sock in the room.
just good old times, good old times. But much like Shadow, Rex, and Isaac from Golden Sun, Jin the Sexy Genie will not be in Smash. Stop asking me, Masahiro Sakura.
Hey.
That's good.
Oh man, I think that's my favorite one yet. That's definitely
Poor
my
media.
favorite one yet.
Poor media.
Freaking Piranha Plant,
Like,
really?
where's the bow? Where's the bow? Where's the bow? There it is.
Dude,
Yeah.
it was Sakura. I couldn't
Oh
help
no! How
myself.
could you not? How could you not?
I seriously did a spit take out my nose. I'm probably gonna get up and get like a Kleenex or something because I'm about to like use all.
It's okay. High Powered can do his overview. Go ahead, media. Take care of yourself.
Go for
All
it.
right. So the episode starts with Cinder waking up from not drowning. Cinder basically survives. She kills a lady and steals her clothes. It then cuts to Team RWBY and Junior talking about basically what their next moves are gonna be. Basically, we already know this. They're going to Atlas. Some things are mentioned about the relic, about how it has wishes, but the wishes have already been used up.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts back to Cinder going to visit a crime boss, Little Miss.
Little
What's her
Miss
name?
Muffet.
Thank you, Little Miss
Malachite.
Muffet.
No.
Yeah, Malachite.
Who is supposed to be Little Miss Muffet? It's,
Yeah.
I mean, spiders and stuff.
Yeah,
And she's and apparently she's also related to Melanie and Militia, who Yang fought in the yellow trailer.
They do have the same last name.
So
Yeah.
probably she's probably related to them. Okay, sorry.
So basically talks about that. Cinder's like, here's some money, I want information, and then they're like, sure, come back in a week. I like how the crime boss is like, don't use that tone with me. It's comfy, it's good, I like it. Also, it's implied that Big and Wide Man Hazel is already hot on Team RWBY's trail at this point.
Yeah.
It then
Some
cuts.
big guy, but yeah, probably Hazel.
It then cuts back to, well, I'm going to talk about this whole thing in one go, the whole RWBY section in one go.
Okay.
Basically, the train crashes. There's a funny moment with Yang trying to get her bike out of the snow. I thought that was good. Masquerada is blind, basically, because her goggles are fucked. and this is probably Oscar's best moment in the series whenever he starts fighting against Ozpin. Basically what that boils down to is RWBY asks the question to the genie in the lamp about what is Ozpin hiding, and ties back to Volume 3 with the fairy tale story, The Girl in the Tower, or whatever it's called, and lo and behold, the lady in the OP is Salem.
Which I believe we predicted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was one of my
we did-
first things.
Yeah, which we did predict. I am still on the fence about if the relics actually containing like a genie of some kind is lazy or brilliant writing. It's too early to tell, but I like what we've gotten so far.
I think it's kind of silly in this context because it's a genie, but it's not a wish granting genie. It's a question answering. It's a Google genie. It's like another Robin Williams character, his Einstein character from the movie AI, directed by Steven Spielberg and partially directed by Stanley Kubrick before he kicked the bucket.
Well, and I do believe it is Dude's turn now. About
All
the
right, so-
good, the bad, and
Yep,
the ugly.
We had the good and the bad. I only have one bad thing besides maybe the genie thing is kind of lazy, but I don't get that right now. What we've gotten with it is fine. So the only thing I can possibly consider bad is if Cinder's so desperately searching for RWBY and needs Little Miss to find them, it makes her feel a little bit less of a threat to me. It makes her feel more desperate than an actual threat. But that's kind of nitpicky. So everything else, I don't have anything bad to say about this episode. Everything else is good. I like that they showed Cinder's journey. It's nice to have some focus on the villain. And I like to see the more collateral damage to civilians, that she killed that poor woman that was just trying to help her.
I like Little Miss Malachite threatening to skin her if she keeps up that condescending tone that we
Yeah.
all give her crap for.
I like Little Miss.
Oh,
That's on my
so
list too.
too.
I like Little Miss Malachite.
Also too, there's some hot brown anime women at that restaurant
Yes,
too.
we noticed
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Howard. We
Very.
definitely noticed that.
Also, Little Miss Malachite is voiced by
Lucy Christian, who also voices Nami in One Piece. She voices Medusa Gorgon in Soul Eater, and she voices.
and
there
then,
was
and then
one more.
it's Jin that's voiced by Clinkenbeard.
Yeah, and then Jin is voiced by Colleen Clinkenbeard, who voices Riza
Colleen,
Hawkeye,
yeah.
Momo Yaoyorozu
Luffy,
in
Gohan.
Hero Academia. Yeah, and Luffy, Gohan. Yeah.
At least I'm not wasting those people as much. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of why with the whole idea of the relic containing a genie and stuff like that, I really hope that they're not just going to use Colleen Clinkenbeard for a just for like this one exposition dump and then like maybe another exposition dump another time since they got 2 questions. Like, I hope that like they keep the relic around and she's like snarking from out of it or something like that
That'd be
from time
great.
to time.
That'd
I
be
think that
awesome.
would be funny.
That would
I
be
want at
funny.
some point for someone to be all like to like ask
Why
like
is that
some
lamp
question or
talking?
something like that. I don't know. Like, so, yeah, why is your lamp talking? Or like for somebody to like ask somebody for her to just be like, "Do you want me to answer that?" And no.
Don't answer.
You
that.
really want to use that for your last question?
Yeah. I think it'd be kind of funny if like at one point Ruby's like, "Oh man, what do I do?" She's like, "Sweetie, I'm the." She's like, "Sweetie, I'm the relic of knowledge, not wisdom," or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that being pretty good.
I like that. I like that they're switching like the focus as easy. Like last episode, they jumped timelines a little bit. They jumped around with the timelines. This time, they're kind of jumping around with the different scenes, and it feels they're not actually.
Yeah.
different
And
timelines.
I
feel
said,
like I feel like the new co-director is to thank for that. I don't want to. I honestly feel like because it's so different than what we've gotten before, and they're doing it so well. I want to.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
I
would
would-
honestly
if
I think
it's all
they're
Carrie to
literally-
thank for that, then good for Carrie. Thank you, Carrie.
I
you
think
know?
I think it's
Carrie
literally
did
that they're
direct this
just putting
episode.
more thought into it. I think it's literally that they're just putting more
If
thought.
that's the case, then you know what? Awesome.
just not-
Either way, I like it.
I literally think they stopped trying with Volume 5 because they
think-
thought. I kind of alluded to this in my review
Yeah.
for last week's episode. I really think, and it just really shows with these 2 episodes, that they just stopped caring. Sometime around maybe Volume 4, definitely Volume 5, and they just stopped caring altogether. I mean, like, we've discussed this before. Every single thing Rooster Teeth had done in the last year has failed. Sex Swing was awful. Nomad in Nowhere was awful. Red vs. Blue Season 16. I refuse to watch it, but everyone I've talked to says it's awful. Day 5 Season 2 was alright. It was a disappointment, though.
Could have been better. Should have been better.
Yeah, it was a major downgrade from Season 1. It's just Rooster Teeth. I think High Powered was right. I think their first memberships took a beating. I think their bottom line got really hurt because of Volume 5, and because of that, they like reevaluated themselves, and they were like, we can't keep half-assing it.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it shows the show looks slicker because of these transitions they're able to do, which is nice. I mean, it's actually noticeable.
And it makes Volume 5 even worse. Because you see
because it does feel like
Volume 1 especially, but Volume it kind of progressively less and less as the volumes go on. But you still see this with Volume 5 where people are like, oh, they're an indie studio, you give them a break. They don't really know everything that they can do.
You're
and
not
it's like
studio when your net value is millions of dollars.
It shows that they are capable of writing good scenes, that they are capable of making good episodes.
Funding is not an excuse they can use anymore.
There's less of an excuse when there's a bad episode, like the majority of Volume 5.
Yeah. And I don't know. Something I liked about Cinder here is that, like, I know, right? Saying that I like something Cinder does, that's crazy.
Whoa.
But like, it's true. She's been a pretty bland villain for the most part. But like, we've now got her. I don't know. I like the fact that she seems to be taking initiative. You know, everyone else, like all the other bad guys and stuff like that, Hazel, Emerald, and Mercury. You know, they all just booked it and stuff like that. Probably booked it back to Salem. But Cinder, she's up and she's immediately like right back on track, going after the heroes and stuff like that, asking for information. I think that's a really good thing from her because it's like, you know, she's taking initiative. She's got kind of like what we've been talking about, what's been so, you know, what we talked about last week, what's been so good about these episodes. The characters that matter are the ones making the decisions. Cinder's making a decision here. She's taking initiative, probably because she's worried that Salem, because if anyone is likely to get punished for their failure at Haven, it's probably her, and also probably because she doesn't want to deal with Watt being a smug ass. But she's taking initiative. She's, you know, doing what, you know, she's taking her own steps to try and, you know, get after the heroes. And even though it does sound like Hazel's a few steps ahead of her, but still. So I think that's good.
She's still trying. Yeah, it's nice, and it's nice to see like from her perspective and everything. I really like that. All right. I like that Nora calling out that they can finally leave the house was funny as fuck. We know why.
Nora is the audience.
Yep.
For this series.
We know why they wrote that line in there, and I appreciate them writing that line in there because they know
and acknowledging that we spend way too much time in this house doing nothing last volume. Yeah.
So like, damn, calm down. That's too meta.
So let's start talking about the scenes individually now, since we kind of got that all out of the way. So basically, the first
because the entire scene with RWBY and like Ozpin is just nothing but positive. Like all of that is good.
Yeah, we can talk to that. We'll just say that to the end and talk to it as one scene because they just cut away from it.
It's like I don't even need a list for that because it's just nothing but positive overall, honestly.
So basically, the first scene that we have is Cinder waking up from like not dying and almost drowning. I did notice an animation error in this scene. Whenever she's on the ground crawling out, where her eye is actually open. It's just a white block.
Huh.
Oh. Yeah.
the bird
There's
one.
so much good animation in this episode, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Don't forget
like
it.
this is
You can
just,
see you can see the difference in tone, like between when it's when we see bad animation in Volume 5 versus when we see bad animation in Volume 6. Like, yeah, but this episode was great, so whatever.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
good animation will never save a bad show.
Yep.
And by
Yeah.
that merit, bad animation can only slightly hinder a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really
It
gonna
all
ruin
kind
it.
of, it all kind of depends on like where the errors are.
Yeah.
Like if characters are teleporting around in a fight scene, it's a little less forgivable than if like something is clipping.
Yes, I agree with that.
Or if the animation doesn't work with what the writers apparently are going for, which seemed to be a big problem in Volume 5. But, yeah.
But basically, Cinder survives. She basically punches her way out of the cavern.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
seems that
that's my only like minor complaint. It was a little too convenient, a little too contrived that there was
That woman just happened to be
opening
walking
right
underneath
there.
the academy
Well, no,
at that exact moment, or?
I don't care about that because Minstrel is supposed to be like a really dense city, and that's like
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Okay, that's fair.
At the bottom of the mountain that Haven Academy is on. Because remember they took the big elevator down from Haven Academy.
Yeah.
And then from there fell.
Fair enough.
And then from there had to crawl. So she's like coming out in like middle of the freaking city. I'm surprised there wasn't an entire crowd of people there.
Okay,
Which
I
is
guess that's
actually my problem in that there's
just a one person
that leads to there's just an opening that leads to the vault, just coincidentally right where Cinder landed.
And that Cinder is somehow strong enough to punch through it.
That I'm fine with. That's not good. She's supposed to be like one of the more powerful characters.
Yeah. That is a nitpick, but basically, I mean, she struggles out of it. It looks like her maiden powers aren't working as well initially from the get-go.
Maybe it was just because she's soaked or something, but
she could just because she's wet. She's like a fire type Pokemon. You squirt some water on it and it just stops.
Got the whole Roy Mustang weakness. Oh crap.
But she basically, lady's just walking by with a freaking basket full of vegetables, and assumingly she kills the lady, probably hides out at her house for a couple of days to like lick her wounds, and then wanders back into town. And from there, it's basically there's a wanted poster with a picture of team with Emerald, Mercury, Cinder, and Hazel.
Which this is something I like, and it's something that kind of highlights an issue I had with Volume 4. All the like wanted pictures and stuff are from the Vital Festival. They're from they're from Volume 3. It's the Volume 3 character models, and some of them like the ones for Team RWBY when Cinder's asking Little Miss Malachite for the Travelers or whatever. It is straight up from their fights.
Yeah, they're straight up from. Yep.
Which just reminds me that the Vital Festival was a public thing that everyone watched, and how come no one was able to figure out who Blake was.
Yeah, that's true.
It just reminded me of that issue I had with Volume 4.
Yeah.
But
one thing I was wondering about those.
It was like a month is what the poster was saying.
Yes. It said that the Battle of Haven was a month ago.
And so Cinder's ahead by like a week or two, and Team RWBY is behind by a week or two.
I think so. Yeah. So that's
a headache.
Okay. So this episode, and I was saying this right before we started. This episode plays chronologically. It doesn't play chronologically with the first episode, obviously, but in itself, within this isolated episode, things happen chronologically. Battle of Haven happens. Cinder wakes up. Cinder finds the girl. Next day, Team Ranger and Team RWBY and Crow and Oscar are in the room talking about the relic, what it does. Oscar / Osmond is lying about it. Lied through admittance, and also just straight up lying.
Yep.
You mean emotion? Yeah.
Yeah, like
Well, yeah, he says,
I don't want to
he
go
says
on
we can't-
just yet, but I have a bone to pick with another reviewer who I usually like, but I have a bone to pick later. But I want to finish this tangent first with the chronology, because then several weeks after that you get Cinder looking for Team RWBY and / Ranger, and probably around that same time, maybe a little after, at least a little bit after, the train wreck, in the aftermath of the train wreck.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But anyway, so
one thing I was wondering about, though, is that the woman sees Cinder, realizes that she's messed up and stuff like that, sees that she's missing an eye and has a grim arm and stuff like that, gets scared, and then just kind of stays there while Cinder, because it's like, woman, run! You're clearly terrified of her, run, but it's a little thing, but yeah.
Well,
I guess she's just petrified by how scary she is, but yeah.
Yeah, deer in the headlights and not really knowing what's going on or who this person is.
Yeah.
Which again is more evidence that this was like right after the Battle of Haven and not sometime later, because if that were the case, then she would know that was Cinder Fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
and then basically the
but it does make sense, actually. Or just one other thing I was going to point out, it does actually make sense that the wanted posters and the Cinder scroll pictures would be from the Vile Festival and stuff like that, because communications have been down. So yeah, that kind of, well, I guess
doesn't explain where they got the picture for Hazel.
Okay,
they just hired a random artist to do a composite, a very good composite of Hazel. And then the next scene is whatever, they're at the cursed house, right? After that, or trying to remember.
No, the house is before Little Miss Malachi. The house is in between the two Cinder scenes.
Yeah, so the house scene is next. I actually really like the house scene for a few reasons. First of all, we get a little bit more. I like how they're like, "Yep, we're going back to Atlas," and then Weiss is like, "I don't want to go back to Atlas." And then Yang's like, "Don't worry, we'll collect on your bounty.
We'll collect a reward for you."
It's all like,
no, and that's the thing
that
that is what I would expect Yang to say, because that
is true. Like, you can't see Yang coming up with that idea, like, "Hey, we can get some cash out of this." Like,
and that's something that I brought up too.
That made me bust a gut.
Yeah,
it's like you are your mother's daughter.
And that made me. That kind of brings up too, like, the predictions that we had too. It's like, oh, they're gonna go to they're gonna hit the border crossing, and they're just gonna pick up Weiss Shni and just wave her around. It's like, look, we got the heiress, let us in. And then they're like, we gotta radio up our commanding officers on this one. I do like to. So is it implied that the Atlas military base is on like an island like north of it? Like, I think
it's supposed to be like on a coastal town in Argus and stuff like that. Like, Argus is a coastal town, and the military base is like a big part of that. And so it's like, if they show up there with Weiss, they'll be all like, "Okay, yeah, this takes priority, and we're Atlas personnel, so us going in, we can get in pretty easy."
Yeah, so because the way that I think about it is like that little like shaded band is the town of Argus, and then there's an island with a little red dot on it, and it's kind of like just a trade town, and then the dots were like back in ye old days, whatever, everyone was sailing around to get stuff. It's like, oh, we have this big trade town, like a random military is gonna build a fort there to keep it safe from pirates and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, that's how I see it. It's like the band is the town of Argus, and then the little dot is the actual military base. Also, Nora breaking the fourth wall and directly
Getting out of this house,
talking to the users, and I think dude's asleep actually.
No, I'm awake.
Yeah, that's how it is.
I'm just chilling.
And
yeah, no, fucking Nora killed me this
I'm
fucking...
up earlier than all. I have to be up the earliest out of everybody. I mean, Media was technically, but that he still slept. So whatever.
I slept 6 hours. I just so happened to wake up at 1 in the morning.
I went to bed at like 4 a.m. So it's fine.
Oh boy. Yeah.
But Nora breaks the fourth wall, Ozpin outright lies about the
How many wishes are
About
left
the-
on the relic?
how many
yeah.
wishes are left
yeah,
on the relic.
yeah, he did absolutely lie about that,
The
Nemesis.
relic
Oh.
of knowledge.
And it's like, yes, it's like, do you tell the truth that there are wishes? Yes, but like the mechanics of which how the wishes are asked and granted, and the status of said wishes were an outright lie.
Yeah, he didn't bother to tell them how they ask the questions, how
also,
it's
yeah.
used, just that.
Also, the question was, what does the relic do? And he didn't put one of the things the relic does, which is attract Grim.
Mhm.
That's also a good point. And he also says that, or what was I thinking about? I don't know. Something else that I liked about this is that they show the relic, growing and shrinking, which I think is
that was nice.
I think that's a good thing. Like they could have I feel like they could have just had it shrunk and people would have taken the piss for a little bit, but then just been all like, okay, whatever. Sorry. But they actually decided to show it growing and shrinking and stuff like that. Let us know that, no, this is not an animation error. This is not a retcon. This is something that it actually does. And it's like, I don't know. I think that's another testament to them, not being lazy, not that they're not being lazy and stuff like that. They're taking time okay, we need the relic to be smaller. Let's have it shrink. I mean, it's a magical item, sure. So why can't it shrink? Sure.
I like that.
And again, I can almost imagine Jin being in there and just being all like, "Oh, I'm being carried. Maybe I should shrink down for their convenience because I'm a nice person."
Nah.
I'm a nice blue space elf anime lady that's basically naked.
Who is
I can now
from
see.
Magi.
I can now see why they took it. You can't demonetize. YouTube can't demonetize a video if it's not on YouTube.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The
Can't
real
demonetize these nippleless boobs.
When you're so much woman, even Crow has to look away. Just like,
That was funny too. I'm like, Crow, why are you looking away? It's like, are you still holding out for Summer Rose even though she's dead?
He's being a gentleman. He's a gentleman deep down, despite how cool he tries to be.
He's being a gentleman for Bar Lady from Volume 4.
yeah, exactly.
Barmaid.
I was just assuming he was trying to set an example for RWBY. I mean, we all know it's too late for Yang on that front.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I can't wait for the complaints about fan service for this one, even though I'm pretty sure Jin did more affected the narrative and the plot more than 1 minute than Team Coffee did in 2 volumes.
And she hasn't even told all of her story. She only just started.
Yeah, anyway. No.
But yeah.
Jin kind of I think I'm kind of whatever I said last, for the Volume 6 prediction. I feel like we're gonna get a soft reboot to the series, and the genie just seems to be the soft reboot button. It's this is something that's just hitting the machine over the head with a wrench, and then it just starts turning over and actually working again. So
yeah.
I mean, it's we've just got 2 really good fucking episodes with back to back to back. Well, X-Nay on the one back, but what's gonna happen at the end of this volume if they're starting out like this already?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could slide off the tracks at any
later
time. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah, my biggest fear is that they're gonna hate Ozpin for a little while, but by the end of the volume, they're gonna kiss and make up, and
that's my biggest fear.
That's I like how fast they're moving here. I like that they're just speeding right on ahead and getting right down to the nitty gritty. But I am scared that that's just gonna give them time to forgive Ozpin and for him to, for them to get over it and stuff.
He already doesn't deserve that. It's already too late for that. There's a difference. Here's the thing. I hate Blake, but she deserves to be forgiven by her teammates eventually. Now, they should still be upset at her. She should still be trying harder to, show that she feels bad. Even though she's at least kind of trying to show that, but they're all forgiving her too easily. They should be more upset at her, but they should forgive her eventually, even if she is a shitty kitty.
I mean, she'll make up for it because because on the whole, from what it actually did, not the reasoning or the emotional character arcs behind it, but what it actually did, wasn't that much different from Yang staying home or Weiss being taken away to Atlas.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that much different from that. Now, her reasoning was way worse because she willingly tried running from the fight.
Yeah. And she's
still,
just
like,
constantly playing the
but yeah,
victim,
but-
and that's annoying.
And it's not, and she's not, and she's doing it because she's an idiot more than anything else. We know she's dumb.
Yeah.
But Ozpin doesn't have an excuse. Ozpin does not deserve to be forgiven. He does not ever deserve to be trusted again. I don't care.
Yeah, he's been
I
lying
don't
for
care
years.
what
He's an
he does at this
ineffectual
point.
leader. He needs...
So
He does not deserve to be forgiven.
Whatever they learn, he stays gone at the end of this volume. But yeah.
Okay, so they try to give
least in the
a reason
background.
for him to keep secrets and stuff with, like, do you think Leo was the first? Which I defend the decision to keep what Lionheart did on the lowdown until they actually get a grasp on the situation, until they get the relic to Atlas and stuff, and prevent freaking
that makes
War
sense.
3 with Atlas and Mistral. For the
And I
time
feel
being,
like-
do that, but Ozpin, dude, maybe the reason people keep betraying you is because they
you're
keep
not-
finding out what you're hiding.
Yeah.
because you're not trustworthy. Yeah. And I like how he's kind of ranting about, I feel like I wanted people to remember Lionheart, for his years of service and stuff like that, and not, turn on him for like this one mistake that he made. I feel like that was maybe a little bit of Ozpin talking about himself, like
Yep.
something like, he's thinking, I've done a lot of good in my life, and I really only made one mistake. But it's like, okay, but what have you done to cover up that mistake? What have you done to, it's clear that you've done you've done very little to fix that mistake, clearly, probably, and you've probably done some terrible things to cover it up. So
Yeah, I think there were some really good specific lines in this episode. I feel like I loved when Weiss said, I'm getting real tired of people choosing what's best for me. That was a great line.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
love, and I also love.
that was on point. Did even Blake have a line too? Also, that was good.
I
trying
don't.
to remember.
She didn't have anything that made me mad, so that's like the best we can really hope for with Blake.
Yeah, I can't think of any Blake. Oh, Blake was the one who was like, "Oh, does that even matter anymore? Apparently, we've been attracting Grim since we left Haven."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean,
That was a
like,
nice one.
Not as good as
that-
not as good as
That's
Weiss's
only
line
Blake
though.
on there.
Yeah,
That's only
it's
Blake
a
on
pointing out the
there.
obvious. It's a pointing out the obvious line though, but like with this show and how they write it, it's like
Well,
that
it bridges into Yang, who is like of the members of Team RWBY. She's the one who is like not okay
Yeah.
with Ozpin's BS
Yeah.
the most. Like,
Yeah,
she's
Blake-
the least
yeah.
okay with it.
Blake basically set up like the whole freaking roast of Ozpin.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's like, hey, by the way, let's bring the
All the
conversation back to the thing that wasn't important like a few minutes ago.
I like all four RWBY girls in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
they're all
like
good.
I like Weiss
And-
freaking pulling out Mir Tanaster on Crow.
And,
Which
you
is
see,
kind of
and it is
Yes.
in frame too.
That
It
was
is
one of my
poking
favorite
out through
parts.
the
So they're
frame.
like,
Yeah.
Crow, you don't
Yeah.
want to be messing with this shit. You better leave us the fuck
I
alone.
like the fact that RWBY took the initiative.
Yes.
And
Yes.
asked Jin,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
good for
Right.
Ruby.
Because
Well,
it
no,
was
I-
more Yang's idea.
I like
But
that.
she's
Yeah.
the
I
one
like
And
that.
she's the one who picked up the relic and was like, and like when he asked her for it, she's like, yeah, no.
No, Ruby did all the stuff she needed to do this episode. She picked up the relic. She did not give it to Oztard. She said the name Jin, and she asked the question.
That's the question.
She did
Yeah.
all the stuff she
And
needed to do this
Even
episode.
Oscar
And good on Crow for letting them do it. And yeah, even Oscar
is good.
finds
Yeah.
Yeah,
Austin
it's like,
and
how
stuff
damn it,
like that.
Rooster
It's like,
Teeth, how dare you make me care about
This,
Oscar?
for a second, guys, for the first time ever in an episode, I liked Oscar.
Cut the podcast. This is over. Apocalypse is beginning. I need a message.
Doesn't mean he's a good character yet, because that doesn't make up for missing his inciting incident.
I
and it
said
probably,
He's finally
is gonna,
But-
and like he probably is nearing the end of his run and stuff like that. Probably is gonna get absorbed into Ozpin and stuff like that. But
you
yeah,
can
this
tell,
wasn't.
because he tried to
But
fight
this
for a
was
little
still
bit,
a good moment.
and then Oz took over, which I like. Though I'm glad, because I don't want it to be like a redemption arc, and now we just get Oscar. Like, I don't care. I still don't want Oscar. I'm sorry, I still don't. It doesn't make sense. We need the kids.
No.
The original.
I know, but I'm more okay with Oscar now. I actually,
Yes,
I
I'm
actually
slightly
feel
more
bad.
okay.
I actually feel bad about
But
it.
this was a good
That's
moment.
the point. If they take him, if they get rid of him, if they get rid of Ozpin and it's just Oscar again, what's the point of Oscar? He doesn't have a point anymore. So the point is to us to feel bad, and then he goes away, basically dies or whatever. That's the point. Because otherwise, he doesn't have a point.
This is what I've said too. Like I said, this last podcast is the only way they could salvage Oscar's character to be somewhat workable for this series. Like in the long run, is they just need to play Ozpin and Oscar against each other.
Yeah, which is what they're trying to do. Which is great.
That's the best thing that they could do for that character, and I'm
And
glad that they're
Aaron-
doing it.
Yeah, and Aaron Dismuke
does
a fantastic
Oh,
job.
God, yes,
and
he
as
does.
usual,
Yeah.
like we despise his character, but his voice
His
delivery
voice
is always on
brilliant.
point.
Aaron Dismuke is amazing. And in this episode, it's great because I don't hate Oscar. Ozpin's being diabolical as fuck, and Aaron Dismuke gets to, like, just be an awesome voice actor. It's great. I also love his line and the delivery for when he said, I believe the people of Mistral deserve better than the truth. Like, oh, that's such villain shit, and I love it. Like,
yeah, it's like, come on now.
I mean, it's also
villain...
Dark Knight shit, but yeah.
Still,
I was
the
saying,
truth
I
isn't
actually
good
thought Itachi from Naruto.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you got a point with that.
How he wiped out.
It can be a villainous thing. It can also be a good guy. So there are such things as noble lies, but I don't think
In this
Ozpin's lies are
context,
anywhere. But in this case, I don't think many of Ozpin's lies are all that noble.
Yeah, in this case, I loved, they did this scene so well because you can see Ozpin getting more and more desperate and scared.
And it is nice to see Ozpin actually getting flustered and pissed off
And
for
you
a
can
change.
see the girls getting,
raising his
the
voice. I don't
girls
think he's
just
ever
get,
raised his voice.
and the girls just get more and more shocked and horrified, and you can see like their like world and like their concept of good and evil almost just getting crushed around them. And it's amazing to see that.
Especially with RWBY.
This show has never shown that. From one episode, you go from RWBY essentially still being like an Ozpin stooge, all the way to, no, fuck it, I'm asking this shit. What is Ozpin hiding from us? Like, that's amazing that they were able to do that in like, what, a 5-minute scene? And it feel like natural and it made sense.
I do
Although
also
one
like
thing that did bother me about
desperation too in this. It's great.
Oh, I love that Ozpin.
He's desperately trying to stop them from finding out.
Ozpin tried to tackle RWBY too.
Yeah, he tried to jump her.
Like, come on now. Like, first of all, how did he get through how did he get through Yang? And
they're not paying attention to that. In this case, it makes sense.
And we also know that he's really
preoccupied with the naked blue lady. But really, really reminded, like, just in that first shot of her, really reminded me of like the Great Fairies from Legend of Zelda games.
Yeah, I think
like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Breath of the Wild.
Someone pointed out a show called Magi.
My sister watches that.
Yeah, apparently there's like a genie character in that who looks almost exactly the
just
same.
like
I don't know.
Yeah,
blue, pointy ears, wearing basically.
Hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just make sure it looks through and fuck you.
Yep. And I like how, but yeah, one thing that did bug me is that RWBY is all like, RWBY's all, so all that stuff you said about, trusting humanity and stuff like that, that was for everyone and stuff like that. That felt like, I feel like we've never actually heard Ozpin say anything, like, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure we have.
He said something kind of similar last volume, but not really. So that one kind of bothered me. But
it's a better thing they could have had her say. But I like the point is to have her start questioning him. So I still like that overall because she's starting.
I kind of would have been okay too if like before RWBY asked the question to the genie, just like give Ozpin the chance. It's like, do you want to answer this question?
Do you want to tell us yourself? That would have been nice. Yeah.
Because it would be a more adult thing to do. It's
but at the same time, he's had his chances. He's had his chances to be honest with them.
Yeah.
He's burned the trust bridge, built another one, and then burned the one that he just built.
Well, I was having a conversation.
So like maybe if he'd been like, wait, let me explain, let me tell you, and she's just like, no, you've done nothing but lie. You've had your chance to tell us the truth. You never have. So I'm going. And you've always omitted the truth. You've always only told us half truths. So we're getting the whole truth right now.
Yeah.
And someone we know will actually give it.
I was having a conversation. This was not a voice conversation, but like a text conversation with somebody in our Discord on a new episode. I'm not going to say who it was because I completely and utterly disagree with them. And they were saying that that Ozpin does deserve to be forgiven, and I'm like, fuck no, he doesn't, because their logic was, well, just because he's done something bad doesn't. That's not the point. The point that is that he's continuously lying about it. He does not deserve anybody's trust. Anybody with a brain would not trust him anymore, no matter what he does after this point. He is not trustworthy. Yeah. It's not about.
And like I said, there's also the question of what has he done to cover up this one mistake?
Yeah, exactly.
Like he claims it's just one mistake. What has he done to cover it up? You know.
It's a literal pile of bodies.
What has he done? Yeah, exactly. What has he done to bury this mistake? What has he thrown in the hole that he threw this mistake in to cover up this mistake?
It's obvious, and people, not just us, people have. I know we've theorized that he is the reason Salem exists in the first place. We thought that
definitely
before this volume, way before this volume, we thought that. And so,
if nothing else, he was most likely complicit.
We know that Jin's story is going to be. We know that Jin's story is going to be that Oz is responsible for creating Salem. We know that. That's obvious. It's the only thing we're like on our edge of a seat about is, you know, how that's
what
are
the
happen.
Mechanics,
and are they just literally going to kill him right now, which they won't, but you know, are they just going to abandon him in the snow?
The trailer shows scenes after this where they're traveling and he's trailing behind, so it's probably going to be one of those, we're not cruel enough to leave you to die.
I think that's actually better, because
if they not the doghouse.
Because if they leave him, I feel like if they're like, you know, angry enough to leave him, that would build for a redemption arc for Oz, which I don't want. I much prefer like a begrudgingly keeping him with them, because then they can stay mad at him. Yeah, because then they can stay mad at him.
Shame. Oh, speaking of Game of Thrones, actually.
Just to show how long ago I called it, at least. I wrote RWBY on Origins, which was effectively Salem's origin story. It's kind of framed as Ozpin's origin, but it was actually more Salem's story. I wrote that December of 2016.
Nice.
As Volume 4 was coming out.
So my point was, though, that...
And that was hinted at, that stuff was hinted at back in RWBY on Veil, which I wrote before Volume 4 started.
Yeah, and my point with that is that the point isn't, it doesn't even matter what Ozpin did in the past. Yes, if he, depending on what he did to create Salem, he could be forgiven. It actually does depend on what he did. But
maybe it was just complicit,
or maybe it was an accident or whatever,
or just
we don't know how bad this is.
It's like, who knows?
Or like they both went looking for something, found it, and he tried to run from it, but Salem went with it, or something like that. But that's
not the point. It's what he's been doing lately. It's and what he's done since. That's the problem. And like, he literally just lied to them about, you know, how many wishes it has. He tried to stop them. He's doing nothing but being selfish. Like, what is he doing for No. He's only caring about himself in this case. So, no, fuck him. He does not deserve to be forgiven. That was the only way they could ruin his arc.
He does not deserve to lead.
Is by forgiving him. And
Oscar's just like, you're grounded.
If they essentially like just forgive him and just get rid of him, that's fine too. I don't care.
If they're just like, go, leave us alone. We're doing things.
If they ever let him lead again, then this show is fucked.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're doing it. For the first time ever, I genuinely believe that they're going to do the right thing writing-wise and at least cast him to the side or something like that.
I mean, they might heat his
opinion, or just shove him back into the background.
I don't think he'll be like directly in charge of anything ever again, hopefully. Or
maybe ask him for occasional bits and pieces of advice.
Because it feels so good to have...
Maybe like, okay, are you going to tell us how we deal with this, or do we need to ask Jin again?
Here's the thing, because I can ask you guys, you know, is the best part of this episode the fact that we're getting Salem's backstory, or is the best part of this volume the fact that the girls are all in charge? They're all taking initiative. They're angry at Ozpin. They're stopping Crow from stopping That's the best part of this volume. That
I think it's that the girls are in charge. But
that's the best part of this episode. That is what makes this episode actually I mean, there's a lot of good parts of this episode. Yes,
And I do like that they're all pulling weapons on Crow and
I
stuff
love
like
that
and,
moment.
I also do like that Crow is kind of like
yes, I like that too.
Like it's kind of just like
Crow's also
do
doing
what you think is right. Like he's making the right choices. He's like, okay, you know what? You're grown up. You're grown up girls. Yeah, exactly. You've been through enough. This is up to you.
Yeah, I do appreciate that from Crow. Like,
yes, I do appreciate that.
I do kind of start to agree with the idea of what some people are saying, which is this really the time to be having this argument like in front of this old lady that none of you know while in the middle of Grim Infested Land? I mean, I'm assuming that Jin's stopping I'm assuming that the Grandma are going to be attacking while Jin's showing them this stuff because, like, she can apparently freeze time.
Well, who knows? Like
that time freezing effect was fucking cool, though. That looked, that was really cool. Yeah,
Jin could just be fucking like Google fibering all the info into their skulls at this point. So like, they're like, oh man, that was a really long flashback. It's like we're only just standing here with our thumbs up our asses for like a minute, maybe.
Yeah,
is that we got?
So I don't think they're in any danger or anything like that. But yeah, but it is kind of like, I don't know. It does seem a little weird that they're having this argument in front of like Maria and stuff like that. But oh well.
I kind of hope they do with the flashback what Daredevil season 3 did with Bullseye's flashback, where okay, if you haven't seen it, I can't remember which episode it is in Daredevil season 3, but it's actually from Fist's perspective. He's reading up on Poindexter's files, and he's kind of like imagining the flashback, and he's like walking around, observing it, reacting to it silently because Vincent D'Onofrio is a good enough actor to react silently and still sell the hell out of that scene. And it's just, it's the highlight of that season, and the season ended up being really good, and that's probably the best episode in that season. I think it was just a really ingenious way to do a flashback sequence, and have the characters show rather than tell, while also showing the characters reacting, the characters sort of finding this out, reacting to it in real time. I think that was really ingenious on Daredevil season 3. Maybe it's a little too much to hope for RWBY Volume 6, but maybe they'll do that because it looks like they kind of are with RWBY walking up to Salem at the end.
Yeah, and I do like that. I don't know. Something else I was thinking about, kind of, like I said, they made a good choice by showing the relic shrinking and stuff like that and growing, and that was a good shot. Also, they made that really nice decision to, show Ozpin's explanation of the relic in an actual flashback and stuff like that. Explain that stuff in a flashback instead of just having them, say.
Yeah, I mean, not in again. Like,
say
not only
you
is
said,
that a flashback,
that we didn't have enough wishes.
Not only is that a flashback, but it ties into what happens later on in this episode. But it also helps the chronology with the Cinder stuff.
Yeah,
again, they had to have gotten a new editor or something.
I had heard that they were going around asking, they brought they had a round table or something that they brought in
we had this conversation before. You can't give good criticism to someone who's signing off on your paycheck.
And yet it's working.
Well, maybe they are. Who knows?
No, it had to be an editing thing.
Yeah.
I know the new co-director is the editor, but it's the same editor who gave us Volume 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he went to a community college class in Austin about editing. He took some
courses.
Yeah. I mean, it could help.
Watch that video on how Star Wars was saved in the editing.
Yeah, that was a good video.
So
it was a good video.
There's something that I want to bring up. Whenever Jin appears, she specifically says it's I am a aspect of the God of Light meant to help mankind.
A creation of the God of Light.
Yeah, a creation of the God of Light. So does that mean so we've got what is it?
Knowledge, choice, destruction, creation.
So are there 2 avatars of the God of Light, and then are there 2 avatars of the God of Darkness?
Probably.
Because
destruction.
What if the free will one? That would mean that the free will one would have to be from the God of Darkness.
Well, no, free will being from the God of Darkness makes the
I
most
would
sense
like that.
actually.
I would like that.
But this is like I'm jumping ahead with the theorizing, but I'm just gonna float this out like right now. Salem's endgame is she wants to capture all the relics so she can enslave all the magic hot genie people inside of it to do something.
Yeah,
That,
probably.
in my opinion, is my endgame. That's the endgame. I'm more excited with the show now because we actually have an endgame in sight.
What, to like get her life back? Is that what? Or
Well,
like
we
that?
don't actually. Okay, high power. We
We-
don't actually yet because they haven't told us yet.
True,
You
but
think
it's
you know,
plausible.
and there's a good chance you're
But
right.
we're getting some hints. We're getting some ideas.
You've called this kind of stuff before. I'm just saying we don't technically have an end game just yet. We should soon, though. That's true.
Yeah.
I think hopefully within the next episode we'll kind of know, or 2 episodes. One thing I wanted to bring up. So, what do you guys think is the chance of seeing Junior again, either soon or, relatively soon in this volume? With the way they're going with this, do you think they're going to cut to them after the rest of the flashback next episode, or?
Jean, Ren, and Nora.
I don't think it'll be.
I think, yeah.
I think it'll be later. I think it'll be later on. I think it won't be until like episode 6 or.
Like, I could honestly see, like, there be, like, a little bit where it's, like, they are running to the Atlas military base, and it's like, hey, this train collapsed, and the heiress of Weishi was on the train. It's like, can you come, like, help us, like, do a rescue party? Because I kind of would like it being the expedited where, like, I know Celtic Phoenix doesn't like the idea of an Atlas intervention, so do you, Sock. But, like, to expedite the story where it's just, like, they just send out the fucking hammerheads and they're like, oh, look, there they are. And then they just pick them up and then fly them back over to the military base.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, well, that could be too also because, like, Cinder could catch up with them and, like, as she's, like, within striking distance, they just get whisked away.
Okay, what I think is going to happen, and I think would be better than that, is once they get all the information out of Ozpin and they yell at him and they decide, well, we have to take you with us, we're not really going to see their journey. It's not going to be eventful. They're just going to show some clips of them trudging through the snow, and then they're just going to get there.
Yeah, that would be good too.
Because I think at this point the journey doesn't actually matter. I think we're getting what matters with them falling off the train right now, and then that we're just going to get
exposing
them
Ozpin as a.
And so I think if they don't cut back to Junior in the next episode, which I'm agreeing it's looking not likely, then we're not going to see them probably until episode 6 or something like that. I agree.
Yeah,
if they don't cut to them next episode.
The midpoint of the series.
It's going to be the worst thing.
No, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I'd like to see them, but I'd be fine.
I'm assuming that next episode is probably going to be where we get like this whole Ozpin flashback and stuff like that.
We're probably gonna get a lot of Salem.
And we'll probably also see like the villains and stuff like that and what's going on their end. And
can I just say though,
get an idea of their plans? But yeah.
Can I just say though that I did have a dream that we got the Ren and Nora episode like sometime this volume. I'm just saying. I did actually have a dream about that.
Your fever dreams don't count.
And I woke up disappointed that it was a dream. So just letting you guys. So when people say I can dream, like I literally dreamed about getting the Ren and Nora episode this volume. I'm not fucking kidding.
Well, they're teasing us so much because it's the whole intro and the fucking.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I care about seeing Ranger right now. About seeing Junior right now. That's the only reason I'm even asking about that.
I don't know. I'm liking Ranger way more.
It's okay.
As of late.
Hey, Nora was awesome this episode.
Yeah, I know. She's like, can we ask for more questions?
Nora's back to being funny. Oh yeah, asking for more. Can we ask for more
like
questions?
Just bouncing around in the background behind Oscar, and he's just like, what?
I like how no, it's actually a Renora moment because Ren's the one that answers her all like languid, like it's not. They're not wishes. Like it's nice to have them be like do their dynamic again.
Like
it feels so good.
One style Renora action.
It feels.
I mean, you know it's bad when I like busted out laughing and I couldn't even laugh to Chibi.
Oh God, don't bring up the terrible. Hey, well, we were worried about this volume of RWBY because of how bad Chibi was, but at least we were wrong about that.
I'm going to derail the podcast for just a second. I just checked the email from Professor LS do you think Yang's bust size is so big because she used dust on them? And I feel the appropriate answer for that is, good old Bronwyn and Ty genetics gives her that
no, that's
massive
all
memory.
natural.
Yeah, I think
that's
it's
all
just
natural.
because she's Raven. Yeah,
Raven's
I think
kid,
it's just because
not
she's Raven's
Summer's
kid. Yeah.
Didn't we also? I checked it this morning. Didn't we also have another question on the?
Let me
email?
check. It was a would you rather.
Because
and
remember,
then-
because also to ask that question, remember that Ruby is nearly or basically the same age as Yang was in the beginning of this show, or at least getting very close to that, and her boobs are not that big, so that means that it's genetics. I'm gonna go.
Oh no! Someone
emailed us a 7-page
Google,
essay.
a Google Docs. Yeah, I ain't reading that. At least not
Wait,
About
anytime
what?
soon.
I will copy the link for everyone to view if they choose to so
Okay.
do it.
Yeah.
Sorry to the person who emailed us this.
I might check it out.
Yeah, it was.
I'll check it out later because I'm the
Oh,
one
I've
doing.
seen this one.
I'm the one doing the
like
recording,
that
so
username.
I don't want to accidentally bring up
This
something
one-
on
well,
this.
didn't
on the
someone make a
recording.
video
no,
of this?
no.
But anyway.
So I'm not gonna read it right now.
Yeah, I ain't reading it.
Yeah. Okay.
I say as I actually like click on it and pull it up and start. Reading it.
It's a little too late.
Yeah, but I don't know. I also did like kind of backtracking a little bit, but like scenes with Cinder and Little Miss Malachite, those were pretty good. I get the feel like
Oh, I
So,
love that scene. Yeah,
I
that
gotta
was
mention
great.
this for a second, but like Little Miss Malachite, like obviously, yeah, she's Little Miss Muffet, probably related to the Malachite twins.
Malachite is how it
Malachite,
is. Yeah.
Malachite. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But she reminds me a lot. She also kind of reminds me of Varys from Game of Thrones, partly because of the spider motif, because his nickname is Varys the Spider, and she's also
My little birds.
yeah, exactly. And also that, like, she refers to her spy network as spiders. Varys refers to his spy network as birds.
My initial thought,
And yeah, also she's a spy and stuff like that.
My first thought was Madam Web from Spider-Man, and my second thought was the spiders from that Nostalgia Critic bit.
Oh, I will bring up one thing too. If you're listening to the background dialogue, one of the goons mentions that they have a bunch of huntsmen in their network that are working for them.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
like the idea.
Oh, neat.
too.
Background dialogue that actually
Well,
adds
you
stuff.
think about it like this too. It's like maybe
That's cool.
like for example, Miss
Malachite.
Malachite picked up on like the fact that like, oh look, all these huntsmen are just dying on all these missions. We ain't taking any missions on the fucking public boards anymore. So we're all going like backroom dealings for this stuff.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you could argue that
And-
she's got a lot of power being like, the boss of what would be the quote unquote mostly remaining huntsman in Mistral. Which is
Yeah.
interesting. Like it's a small little detail that they threw in there that's kind of nice.
It is nice, yeah.
And I do like that line of like, I used to be scared of spiders, so I made the spiders work for me. Like the ultimate way of letting Cinder know, like, do not fuck with me. Everyone in this room works for me.
Exactly. And I like that. See, I like
Basically,
the setting.
I kind of made this comparison, and again, this is why I think she's probably related to the twins. Is that she's kind of just a much more effective version of Junior from like the beginning and stuff like that.
I like the settings too. I like that. I like the bar. I like the rainy Mistral
We actually
crowded
get to
street.
see like the seedy underbelly of Haven here. Yeah, that's
of
nice.
Mistral.
Or of
Like,
Mistral
I like
here.
actually seeing that was nice. Thank you for that. Where was that last volume? But hey,
Yeah,
at least
a volume late, but it's nice that we
at
got it
least it's
eventually.
here this volume. So I don't know. It made it feel more real. It was nice to have that. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to like compliment, or do we want to move into theorizing because we only really mostly had good things to say? I think
I do also think it's kind of funny that Cinder feels like she has to like cover up her hair and like, cover up her missing eye and stuff like that. So like,
And
you
her
probably
arm.
fit in. Well, the arm makes sense to me, but it's like a one-eyed woman and stuff. A one-eyed woman would probably fit in pretty well in this area.
Now
of
I'm
Mistral.
thinking of Cinder in an eye patch and.
Venom punish Cinder.
Oh, by the way, Salem's
Salem's
hot.
also really fucking hot.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
RT.
And
Thanks, RT, just for throwing No Nut November out the window.
I think they already did that with.
Between-
I am
they
not
already
gonna
did that
be-
with Jin.
I'm not going to be ready for Destroy Your Dick to December.
yeah. And so,
It's just gonna fall off.
Oh God.
What are you gonna do for
and
just?
old
What are you
Salem
gonna
did.
do? What are you gonna do for Just Jizz January?
What is with these names?
Fabulous Fat
Yeah, I
February.
was gonna say Fabulous Fat.
Come on, we can think of 12.
Oh, sure we could.
Major
Ladies get
Masturbation March.
Yeah. Masochistic masturbation March.
Oh no.
No,
That's yourself.
autoerotic asphyxiation April.
That one already exists.
People have died doing that.
No, I'm thinking back to a Metal
I should
Ocalypse.
have been laughing at it, but it's kind of funny.
Oh god, there's a Metal Ocalypse episode where they bring up autoerotic asphyxiation. Whatever they're like, whatever they try to like, they basically bring up why they became superstars because like, oh, if we could suck our own dicks, then we never actually do this. And I don't know if it was like Squizgar or Pickles was like, it's like, dude, I did it. I sucked my own dick.
What's your favorite episode of the RWBY podcast? I like the
The one where they name all the different, where they go with all the different alliteration. It's for masturbation.
That's quality stuff, though.
Oh god.
Anyway,
one. Just completely derail the podcast.
but so, But I did
Ovulating
not-
orgasm October.
No.
I mean, that's easy.
Eh.
Yeah, oral sex October. Come on,
Yeah, there we go.
there you go.
that's easy.
But so,
Which is great because that's my birthday month.
So yeah, I think now it's okay. Let's.
Okay, so if we're breaking into theories, first thing is,
yeah.
what will their third question be? Because one of
And
them
when will
was
they
already
ask it?
Ozpin, and then the second one was in this episode. What is Ozpin hiding from us? What do you think the third question will be?
I
think,
want.
Oh yeah, another
Ozpin-
thing I liked
want-
about this actually, but was that so Ozpin says, I've already used all three wishes and stuff like, or all three questions, questions. Anyway, he says, I've already used all three questions this decade and stuff like that, and there are this
era.
century
Century
era. Yeah.
words.
Anyway, whatever the term for 100 years is, and I remember hearing that and kind of thinking like, why is Salem going after a relic that she can't use? And then it's like, nope, still has 2 left. I was like, oh, but also like maybe Salem didn't know.
Well, I mean,
But yeah.
if it's every 100 years and he used it at the end of the Great War, then it's going to be useful again in
Then
20
it's-
years. Anyway.
That's a good point. That's also a good
Well,
point.
and to
I
high
don't think,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
time's an
Those are
issue for
something
Salem
and
right now. I
and
don't
to
think
High
time's an issue.
Powered's point, what if she just wants to use it to control all the genies? She can use her power
Yeah.
to just control all the genies. It
So
might
here's
not
my
just- she
question.
might not
So
So
wanna
maybe
ask
it's
that
another question that she wants. But
Yeah.
That could be the third answer. It's like, how do I control you? Or what I wouldn't be surprised is Ozpin just burns the third question.
I think either
Just
Ozpin
burns
because
it.
I
Just
think
burns it.
I think
like just
either-
steals it from Ruby and then
I
burns it on
think-
something
I think
ridiculous.
Ozpin's either gonna burn the third question, or most likely, I actually think they're gonna save it, because I think they want to
Yeah.
have some tension of the fact that they could still use it for one more question. Maybe
Yeah.
just until
I
the
think
end
they'll
of this
save it.
vol- Maybe just
I
until
think
the end of this volume.
maybe Salem will get a hold of it and she'll ask like, where are the rest of the relics or something.
Yeah.
But-
Maybe
Or-
it'll be just to the end
Well,
of
they
this
know where the
volume.
relics are.
Or I guess
I would
she
kinda-
doesn't
where
know
the-
where the
where the other
one
maiden-
that was in Vale is.
Where
Yeah, I would-
where
I
are the
would kinda
maidens
like if-
are.
Yeah, if Cinder gets a hold of it and then asks that.
Yeah, where are the other maidens? I'm trying to think what could be a good question to also to ask.
Silver Eyes, something about Silver Eyes, maybe.
Yeah,
dude,
but I think
Silver-
Maz
if they
Katara is going to
use
be
it on-
that. I think that's going to be Maz Katara. I don't think they're going to waste a question on that when Maz Katara seems so
Yeah.
obviously a silver-eyed warrior. Especially when she talked about like in this episode, like, I'm blind without my eyes. Like, yeah, okay, she's definitely a fucking Silver Warrior.
Well, that could
and,
be.
and
That's
also,
the
it's
thing.
also like something I think we brought up last week, or should have. The fact that like she was heading in the direction with all the other passengers, and then purposely like went back.
Yeah, she purposely went back. Yeah.
So here's the real question, though. Does Cinder actually know that there's a genie inside the bottle?
No.
Maybe.
She might.
So,
I don't know.
I don't think
She might know what it does. Like,
I-
she might know that about the whole 3 questions thing, but
I don't think it matters either, to be honest. I don't think that's the point. She
Because
wants,
I could
RWBY
see
dead.
like
she just wants RWBY dead.
yeah.
this
Well,
point.
I could honestly see too, like, well, if she's able to grow up with the whole "let's kill Ruby" thing, I could see if she asked the question of like, oh, who are the other maidens, and coming back to Salem with that knowledge as like a bargaining chip to be like, please don't kill me.
I don't know. I don't see that being a thing. No, I think she just wants to kill RWBY. I really do. I don't think that's
maybe how do I kill a Silver-Eyes Warrior despite my weakness or something? Well,
that would
didn't
be
really matter.
I still don't think that's. I don't think that's the stretch. I think that's not part of that focus. I really don't. If you're right, then I'll eat my words. But I really don't think that's going to be part of the focus on that.
I'm also kind of wondering what Ozpin's question was like when he first found it. Although it might have been, where are the other 3?
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get that though. That's.
I mean, if it was during the Great War, and we're assuming that he was the King of Vale, then it was probably where are the other 3 relics? But
or like
at that time, that would have been a good question. But yeah,
I think the more. How responsible is Ozpin for Salem's condition? Like, did he do something like bad? Or was it an accident? Like, what are your guys' thoughts on this? My thought is that he actually did something bad. Like, he was actually like a dick to her, or he killed, or he, I think it's something like actually genuinely bad. I don't think it was
he threw her into some sort of grim pit.
Yeah,
and stuff
I don't
like that
think it was an
something.
accident. I think like he actually like did something kind of evil to create.
What would be clever though, and this kind of brings up like my idea with Hazel, like how to fix Hazel's backstory is. Let's just say that the King of Vale was the one who made Salem who she is.
Well, no,
So
Salem's got to be older than that.
Or it could be
way
old.
too long.
Salem's got to be way
I
older than that, than the King of Vale.
Or
That's only
I would
80.
say
You gotta remember, that's only 80 years ago. That's not that long ago.
okay. So
Just
I would
because
say,
Miles tries to tell you that 80 years ago is a really long time ago doesn't make it true.
So I would gamble to say that Salem's like whoever she was like, let's say like maybe like she was in love with or whoever gets possessed by Ozpin, and that is like the root cause. Like that's one of the reasons why she despises him so much, because she took away like the man that she knew and loved, and she also got turned into like a hideous monster in the process, which. For me, is enough justification for her motivation.
What if Ozpin was the guy? What if
look at my face.
What if Ozpin
really look at it? Does it look like I need a reason to be cruel?
What if Ozpin was the guy that loved her and then cast her aside?
That worked too.
Yeah,
I'm
kind of still on. Yeah, I'm kind of still thinking like that. Yes, he's the reason that she became what she is, and also that he, for whatever reason, is actively avoiding killing her.
I honestly think Ozpin does not want to kill Salem.
That would be the best actually out of all of them, because then they would have to say he has to get fucked.
Yeah.
Because then they can't forgive him because they have to kill Salem, and he doesn't actually want to. He just wants to stop her. That would be awesome.
That
Robert always coming up with like the best ideas.
Yeah, no, I like
this from like last year, but
still that'd be awesome
for a while. But yeah.
I mean, it kind of plays parallels too with like a lot of the major like relationships that we have. I mean, we have Tai Yang still holding a candle out for Raven, pretty much.
Well, we know she's gonna talk to him.
I do. Okay, super like off-topic theory-wise. Do you actually think we'll see Raven or Tai at all in this entire series, this volume?
I can hold out hope.
I don't know.
This volume, I'm not sure.
It would be
if we don't, we'll see.
Yeah, it would be nice to get at least just a little something, but I don't know. I don't know.
If we don't see him this volume, we will see that next volume, or at least the aftermath of what that conversation was. We'll see something. I'd be shocked if we didn't see something like on related.
Because I would.
Yeah,
like
the
to see
aftermath of the wood conversation is going to be Raven pregnant.
Oh god, not again.
Oh god, no. Oh god, no.
It's like, it's been how many years and you show up to my house? It's like, you better be barefoot and pregnant in that kitchen to make up for all this time.
20 years.
So it's just like so.
And then Raven's like, my vagina still is molded to the shape of your magnum dong.
Oh god.
Cargo shorts still make me wet.
I'm by our tree. Might as well.
Yeah.
He just points to the tree. It's like, you know what we're doing.
To the tree. To the conception tree. Away.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Speaking
what else?
about,
I'm still molded to my hands.
I
Conception seated.
don't know if did I bring this up during the first podcast?
Why? Go back inside.
Okay, so there's an anime out called Conception, and they do the most ballsiest thing
Oh, I
I've
think I know what
ever
you're talking
seen in an
about.
anime.
I know what you're talking
Literally in
about.
the first episode, as they're about to like have like the anime character in glasses do the exposition dump, the little chibi like animal character holds up a sign with like a link to the website on where you can read up on the lore of like the Conception universe. And I'm watching this in my shower, and I'm like, what the abstract fuck is this?
That's pretty funny, actually.
I actually hate that idea. That's the kind of thing
It is kind of like the ultimate. It's all in the manual, folks. But yeah, it's
no,
like
no. That's one of my biggest complaints with Dark Souls and Bloodborne, is that it has this like
you gotta
supposedly
for most of your
lore.
exposition, you gotta read the.
You have to go to
Yeah.
the wiki
Gotta
learn
read
any
the
of
weapon
it.
descriptions.
I think it's funny just because he just mentioned like 3 anime tropes in one thing: dude with glasses,
Yeah.
giant exposition dump, and animal character. I mean, that's like.
Isn't like Conception like the anime about like the guy has to like
The guy has to knock up
The
The guy's in another universe and has to
guy-
knock up a bunch of girls.
yeah
The guy
yeah.
basically is Genghis Kong minus the
It's
ring.
essentially a hentai with minus the hand.
Genghis Dong.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Hey!
That's the cleverest thing I'm gonna say all day. Just saying.
But so,
Because you
Yeah.
didn't come up with enough months.
one theory I have is that people are bitching about how the woman in the hood wasn't Neo, and obviously it was never going to be Neo. But I do think Neo's gonna appear in this volume. I'm assuming Miss Malachite is gonna like sell Cinder out to her, and Cinder's probably gonna kill Neo. And I will bathe in the tears of her fanboys, even though I really have nothing against Neo, but her fanboys are dumb. So,
No, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna disagree with you on that one, Robert.
yeah.
Because they specifically stated like when Neo pops up, like what she does is gonna piss off the fans.
Well, yeah, she would be. They'd be upset if she died.
I mean, if she just died immediately,
yeah,
like,
that does count.
in
You're
seconds,
not wrong.
that would piss people off. But so, like, I could see that, like, Cinder just killing Neo and then, like, going back to Miss Malachite and being like, yeah, you should not have fucked with me. And, like, I could actually see it where, like, Cinder kind of takes her advice, you know, kills her and takes over her spy network and stuff like that. That could be kind of cool.
That would be interesting.
Or her
keep in mind
spider
that
network.
Next episode, we're probably also going to get the stuff with Emerald from the trailer.
Yeah, Emerald, Salem,
We're
and Tyrion and stuff
definitely
like that. We'll probably be getting
Floating
that.
Man, who is definitely he's confirmed to be Ozpin at this point.
T-posing
so
on all them fools.
Yeah. And so the only things left from the trailer are the shot of them walking in the snow, and then the shots with Emerald and Salem and Tyrion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I
And
point
I also-
out that
so-
the guy who does the RWBY status charts, the Ozpin character, that's the dude in the shorts. His name was like Matt from Starbucks or some shit like that.
Yeah, Steven from Starbucks.
Yeah. That was the fucking best part of that chart.
Those were very spot on. Yeah.
Oh my
I
god,
also,
so good.
oh, yeah.
Just
And
voicing
Salem
our
does
thoughts.
have, yeah. And Salem does, and so yeah, Salem does have blue eyes. So Minosock's theory about her possibly being Jean's progenitor is looking a little better.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that would be pretty crazy.
Salem arc. It's like poetry. It
Say
writes
what?
itself. Just a
It would
distant,
take
just
all
a
those
dog.
iconic Salem fanfics that actually exist. You
I-
can have my word on that.
Oh,
a
also,
lot more
thank you,
what?
Omnipotent. Oh, John X Salem.
Oh god,
Oh
no.
no. No,
They
please.
exist.
And then John just dicks down Salem into
They'll
submission.
double
You're
in
good
size
girl.
in this one. if she does end up being his
Oh
wife,
no.
great something or other. But I don't know.
All right, so
Goddamn.
Which I can't
But-
remember who said it. I think it was actually Secure. We were just talking about last week's episode, or the opening or whatever. And he's like, that would explain why Tyrion was like, "You do interest me" back
Yeah.
in Volume 4.
yeah, it would. Do we?
Yeah, because you basically see,
That is what I said
yeah,
last
like you
week.
basically see John as the equivalent of a demi. Essentially, it's like, you know,
Do we
I
want
don't
to talk about
It's not tinfoil, but that's my theory.
A gay theory.
Dude,
I should wear the hat because my hair's a mess.
Emp Lemon's channel's pretty good, I gotta say.
Yeah,
So okay, is the genie a good plot device or a lazy one, or we just have to wait to see how it plays out?
I think
I would say wait for it.
Yep, I would say
Because
wait a
I
little
liked
bit.
what I saw.
But I like the thing is,
like I said, I hope that she doesn't just show up for exposition.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little too out there, but then again, that ship kind of set sail
Yeah.
during Volume 3, traveled across the Pacific Ocean during Volume 4, and then hit an iceberg and wrecked during Volume 5.
yeah, I'm actually so far I'm fine with it because of the way like it works. So they have to ask the question and the way that made RWBY have you know more agency and stuff like that. So right now I'm fine with it. Right now I'm good with it, honestly. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be the most creative thing in the world. I don't care. Like, what we care about right now is having the characters, you know, take agency and have the girls be in charge. And that's what's happening. So if it didn't feel awkward to me at the time. It was like, oh, a genie. It's like, well, you know, it's magic. They said it's from the gods. Like, whatever. At least they're using the
and
gods.
people have been guessing at it ever since like they saw the relic and were like, that looks a lot like a lamp.
Yeah, at least they're using the gods as like an excuse for something now, finally. So fine. You know what? I don't care. That's fine. Doesn't
I
bother
really
me.
wish that they're like, shit, we gotta hide the lamp.
I do hope
So
they
have to lampshade the lamp, the plot device.
I do hope they
It's an obvious joke. They have to do it.
I do hope they have her like actually like snarking from the lamp for a while. I think that would be cool. I would like that.
Oh, she could actually talk from the lamp just at your after you started thinking, like she could just chill there.
Yeah, I would like to see her like
I'd
snarking and stuff like
down
that.
for that.
But
Yeah.
even if not, like, if it gets us to where we need to go, I don't care how contrived of a plot device it is. And to be honest, it's not that contrived. I think they could have come up with way stupider stuff because they have come up with way stupider stuff in the past. So I don't care. I'm gonna be positive overall on this. I'm just telling you. What a surprise!
Okay, here's a question. Would it be too on the nose if like they get like Team Ruby's walking around and they get attacked by Grimm, and one of the Grimm is just about to attack the old grandma, and the grandma just glares at it, and the Grimm's like, whatever, bye.
Just eases it off. That could be kind of funny.
Would that be too on the nose?
That might be how
If
they
they- if
actually
they
do it. No, I don't think it'd be too on the nose because then that would be when they get her exposition dub of what she is, and she can talk to RWBY. So I
But
don't
she's
think
just like,
it would only be too on the nose if they did that and then didn't talk to her about it, which I don't think would happen. If she did something like that, then they would talk to her about it. And also, she wouldn't just look at it and the Grimm would know who she was. That'd be stupid. If a Grimm has seen, if she's
Maybe
a
like
samurai warrior, a Grimm has not survived seeing her, so she would just glare at it and it would explode or something like that. That's what would happen.
Yeah. Your head explode.
Just to clarify, but
Like she takes off the glasses and her eyes are just there, and all the Grimm are just like, oh shit! It just.
I hope
Maybe.
they think of a more clever way to get into her.
Yeah.
Just because that's always like how they reveal like cool old fighter people is, they think they're nothing, you think they're nothing, and all of a sudden they do something super badass. Like that's how
I just
They
don't
just come in to
want-
save the day.
Yeah.
I do and don't want her
I-
hopping around like Yoda in the
won't get
third
yeah.
prequels movie.
I won't get
Yeah.
I won't get super mad if that's how they do it. If it's just like, oh, she saves them by being super badass. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is a trope. I prefer if they did something more clever, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Again, I said this when we first found out about the character, but I want her to maybe be an older silver-eyed warrior. That's as far as I'm willing to go, as far as like her overall plot.
I
I
kicked
want
around
her
the
to be
idea.
someone that
It would be nice if
that
she has,
the
like,
heroes
a-
have to be a hero for, someone that they have to actually defend, and someone who can pass on some like old person wisdom onto the character, specifically Ruby.
Yeah. That's
I
do
kicked
want to
around
see
the
her
idea
like
too that like she could potentially be like a distant, like she could be of the Rose family, just a really distant, like what would she be like?
a great aunt or something
Yeah,
like that.
like a great aunt or something.
Yeah.
I don't think everybody has to be.
I do
connected
hope
to
that they
everybody,
reveal
though.
that, like, I don't know. Like I kind of pointed this out last week. The opening pretty much already gave it away that she's a Silver Eyes warrior. So, like, either next week or I don't know. They need to have the official reveal soon.
And I honestly would just like,
I think they will,
grandma acting like, kind of acting like, acting like a mom, like a surrogate mom to Ruby for a period of time too. Also, that'd be kind of cool too.
Hell,
also.
give Raven,
Kinda
give
like
Yang some
the-
love too, because I think because she is on Yang's bike, and Yang was the only one complaining about her.
Yeah. Maybe she takes like a Jiraiya role with Ruby or something like that, just briefly or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or I mean, she could just even act
Like a
like
Jiraiya
motherly
slash
to
Yoda
like
role.
if she acts motherly to like Yang and Ruby, I would appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, that's
and
that's
and
what I'm
drop
thinking.
some knowledge bombs. I'd be very okay with that.
I mean, Yang does need a new mother figure.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, like, do you all are you guys of the opinion that Yang has told everyone about Raven being the Spring Maiden?
That's something that
Yes,
I brought up.
I am.
I don't think I think she's covering
Considering how much
for
she's
Raven.
harping on Osmond
No,
about
yeah.
hiding important stuff, it would be really bad and hypocritical of her
Yes.
to be hiding stuff like that. And we know she tells people stuff off screen.
Yeah.
We know that Jean knew about Raven, about
Yeah.
Raven's mom back at the beginning of Volume 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure she's told.
So yeah, it
everybody.
does make sense. They do like I do know where the question's coming from because they do say their Spring Maiden's gone. They don't say Raven's gone. So, but yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to get
And
into
plus,
the theorizing for the next week's episode, the upcoming episodes?
predictions time. Or does anyone else have anything to say?
mm,
No.
not particularly.
I
No.
think I've said my piece.
I think we have. Yeah. So
Yeah.
prediction time.
Now I'll save it for when we're actually wrapped.
Okay.
Okay.
So
We're gonna see
Predictions.
Salem and the gang, and we're gonna see the flashback.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna get. Maybe like at the end we'll get like a little. We'll get the shot of like them walking through the snow, and they'll
Yeah.
actually be like reacting with each other to it. Be like, well, that was a thing. I bet that'll be the line too. Quote me on it.
Yang's
It just comes
Yang's
straight to
just
them
like,
walking
"Wow,
in silence,
that
and
was
they're
a
like,
thing."
"Well, ain't that some shit?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah, Ozpin's gonna be like, they're gonna be like, well, just, you know what's probably gonna happen? Actually, okay, they're gonna see what happens. Ozpin's gonna try to explain himself, and they're gonna just be like, you know what? We don't.
They're all
no,
just gonna
shut
walk
up.
away.
Just shut up, and we're just gonna start walking, and they'll let him follow him, but they're just gonna give him the cold shoulder. And you know what? We don't even want to fucking hear it. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
We don't care. You're dead to us. You can
Poor
come with
Ozpin.
us because we're not gonna let you freeze out here, but we don't give a fuck. They're gonna walk, and then yeah, we'll get the emerald stuff in between there. If we get Ranger anytime in the next 4 episodes, probably we'll get them in the next episode. If we don't get them, then we're not gonna get them until 6 or 7, probably.
Yeah.
I can see about 7 or
Yeah.
6.
That's what I'm saying. If we don't get them
Yeah.
next episode, I think there is a chance they could cut back to the next episode. If not, then we won't get them until much later. And otherwise, I think that we're gonna get the origin story, and they're gonna just be like, you know what, fuck you, Oz. But I don't think they're gonna dwell on it. I think it's just gonna be like
if maybe someone mentioned, and again, maybe if John is Cinder is Salem's descendant, then maybe they'll cut to like Junior and stuff like that. If they're like, I don't know, if Tyrion's like, by the way, I ran into one of your descendants, forgot to tell you that, or if they're
it's been so many months since
drop Salem arc or something like that at the end.
I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny that it was just a Sunny V theory that I was talking with Robert about, and next thing you know, it's all over the goddamn internet.
I mean, the gene type's there too. Also, I mean, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ty has blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah, but Ty's
like the only actual
so maybe
actual
maybe
evidence
she's a
for this
Xiaolong.
theory is what Tyrion said back in Volume 4.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
the only actual evidence.
I don't think we're gonna get Maz Katara.
So we'll see.
Silver Eye stuff until at the earliest episode 4 or 5. I think that's when we'll get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's when we'll get that. So. All right. I think again.
Watch as we get cut, and then this week's a hiatus week.
Oh God! Don't do something like that.
I don't think it is, because Extra Life was this weekend. They didn't postpone an episode for Extra Life this week.
Yay.
When do they usually do the hiatuses? I know like Thanksgiving and like Christmas.
Extra Life, Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, they didn't do it this time.
So we still got about 1 or 2 episodes before our first off week.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be a hell of a cliffhanger, but still.
Yeah. By the way, this was actually a pretty good cliffhanger because because it actually leaves us excited and wondering about next week, and not just going, "Oh no, otherwise is in so much danger of dying."
I can't
right
remember
now.
the last time I was so excited for the next episode of
This is
RWBY.
what I wanted to suggest as we wrap it up.
Mm-hmm.
Best episode in the series yet?
It's possible. It's up
Up there, definitely up there.
It's very up there. Top
3.
Top three for me because.
Yeah, definitely top 3.
You know what? It depends on how next episode goes. If next episode is good and they do give Ozpin the cold shoulder, if they are still mad at him, as long as it's not like whatever happens in the next, they don't feel bad for him, which would be horrible.
It depends on exactly. Because last volume we had some.
If they don't, then I actually am going to say this is the best episode because as much as I love Kuroyuri and Renora, this is doing more for the overall story and for the agency of the main characters.
Yeah.
So
for me,
and like we pointed out,
favorite.
last volume we had a lot of really good episodes, but they were kind of overshadowed by the fact that a lot of what they set up didn't ultimately pan out, didn't ultimately mean anything. So let's see what this episode leads to before we go.
Yeah.
Ranking it.
But so far, I mean, I'm impressed. And that's why there's not.
So far, they're doing a really good job.
Yep.
Really hope they keep going. Really hope they keep this momentum going because so far this has been a really good one.
Yeah.
I'm just more happy. I watch the reactions, I read the comments, and I'm sitting here just smiling because everyone's like, it's like a lot of people that are like usually just like really hard on this show,
like us.
But like, they're just like even the more like I would say like quote unquote toxic people of the fandom are like, damn it, this episode was good. I have nothing bad to say about it.
Well, except for Adele, he's still being a fucking idiot. But whatever.
I am gonna abstain from that comment.
I'm staying. I'm staying away from that.
I'm not
from that.
Not touching that one with the 10-foot pole.
I'm a negative person, and if this guy's way too fucking negative for me. So I think I don't.
Wait, what was the comment?
He's a troll. The thing is, he's a troll. He doesn't actually like have an actual opinion. Yeah, but that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Time for plugging. Shameless plugging.
Yes. If you like this video and you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe, and consider supporting me on Patreon.
Yep.
I'm not gonna have a top 10 list this week because it's the midterm election. I'm going to be busy with some other things, including I'm going to actually be live streaming that night and giving like live commentating. I'm going to be talking about the midterm
Commentary.
as the votes are counted up, as the winners and losers are announced. And I'll just also be talking about history, politics. I'll be stretching my teaching acumen for all of you guys, and we'll be talking on the Discord. Anyone who is on the Discord is welcome to join in. Well, not anyone. I will be vetting people. In other words, the people that I actually like talking to will be allowed on there, and not the people I don't like talking to.
You know who you are.
Actually, you probably don't, because I'm actually very nice to people I don't like.
That's true. True.
And other than that, review will come out Saturday night for this episode. That's how I'm going. I'm going to be doing the premiere thing, with my episodic reviews from now on. I really dug how that works. I get a lot more views early on. For my episode review, I got like a couple hundred views in the first like hour instead of like a couple hundred views in the first day, as like I usually do.
Yeah.
Okay. It is kind of a bummer that they're making people wait a week, but oh well.
Yeah, whatever.
Because it's really awkward.
I mean,
like,
it's probably YouTube. I know it's mostly just YouTube being but anyway.
Well, it's not even the YouTube, because they don't upload. It's just really hard to, like, because you're like because I like, as a first member, I do like being like, hey, I get something out of being a first.
Being
at the same time, it's like there's a point where it's like, I can't talk with my people about it unless you're on the Discord.
I think the Rooster Teeth website still needs a little bit of work done.
Yeah.
To be successful and to actually appease me. And appease most of the people on there, because even people who are like diehard Rooster Teeth fans are like,
hard to find
yeah, the new website. Yeah,
it's really hard to find what you want to
it's
find.
getting better. It's way better than it was at launch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that it's a billion times better than it was at launch, but it still has a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was even as good as the previous site. And RWBY on. This arc I've been working on for the last couple months is about to end. I only got like one chapter left to write, and I'm like a third of the way done with it. So in the next couple days, that chapter will be done. I'll be going on break, and then going into the finale, the final RWBY on thing I'm ever going to write. Mark my words.
I will.
And hold me to it.
Okay.
That's all I have to plug.
I've still got my fanfic out there. RWBY 2020. So you guys can check that out. I'm currently in Vault. I will hopefully have a chapter out this next week. By the end of this next week, it's going to be covering the dance arc in Volume 2. So
nice.
Keep your eyes open for that.
Are you gonna write in, fix the animation for Cinder's rooftop scene?
I will see what I can do.
All right, cool.
Her mask will not be disappearing.
Yeah. I don't have anything to plug.
I only have a socket.
Just make sure to join the Discord and yeah.
Oh,
Right.
and the email.
Keep sending shit to the email.
As long as it's not, ask us like a question or two, like per email, instead of writing a 7-page essays, please. Sorry, just
we will look over it though.
Yeah, we'll look over it later, but if you're asking a million questions, we can only answer so many of them.
I skimmed it. He's basically just talking about fight scenes, which wouldn't even be relevant for this episode because there's no fight scenes in this episode.
Yeah, so next time there's a relevant fight scene, which probably won't be a couple episodes for now, actually, I don't think. So.
Yeah.
All right.
And they're like, here's the first episode.
Yeah.
Take this. You take the fight scenes.
For the people that criticize media and us for being too negative on the show, I mean, hey, when the show's good, man, we are all about it. We are all about loving this show when it's great. I am so happy right now. Like, just make Renora kiss and have a baby, and I am just gonna gush over the show forever. That's all I need.
Because that's totally how it works. No.
Well, I mean,
that's not what I meant. You know what I actually
I know.
Hey, Celtic Phoenix agreed with me. They should have a kid sometime in this show. I'm not the only one who thinks that.
I
Okay?
know.
They're 19. They're basically 19 already, and in a universe where people have kids young. It's getting time, actually. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not actually. I don't consider it a Sunny D theory at all. Anyway, they need to kiss this volume though. They fucking goddamn need to kiss this volume. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching.
Yes, thank you.